Hey there folks, this is the first installment of our video on square roots and cube roots, chapter 4. And just wanted to, I think we all know what this is already, but just go over a few things. First of all, if you saw me quickly erase that little 2 there. So square roots and cube roots, we write cube roots like this with the little 3 there because we want to know the cube root, so something to the power of 3. And then for square roots, we don't ever write it, but there is a little 2 there. It's kind of like the exponent 1 or the coefficient 1. We just don't write it, but it's understood that it's there. And obviously there is no first root, so this is kind of the simplest way we can do things. Anyways, so again, just to review kind of thing what square roots are. And I'm expecting that this is review for everybody, but for example, if I take a square, let's say, that was 8 units long by 8 units wide, we would say the area of that square is 64 units squared. 8 times 8, 64, length times width. Okay? And likewise, we could say the square root of 64 can be expressed as 8 because 8 times 8 equals 64. Okay? And again, you know that, so any number that can be written as something times itself, that's called a perfect square. So 64 is a perfect square, so is 25, so is, you know them all already. Okay? And so that's the square root. And I think you all know how to find the square root of a number on your calculator already. Anyways, if you don't, make sure you plug in 64, the square root of that, and it has to equal 8. We're also looking at cube roots, and since we're talking about squares with square roots, you guessed it, cubes are going to be coming up for cube roots. Look at this one. Okay, here we have a cube that's 8 by 8 by 8, and the big question here is this face here coming out at you or going away from you? Oh, it's an optical illusion. Just kidding. It doesn't really matter. Anyway, so if we're to find the volume of this cube, we would find that it's 512 units cubed. And so we could say that the cube root of 512 is equal to 8 because 8 times 8 times 8, 3 times there, is equal to 512. You get the idea. Okay? And maybe finding the cube root is something you haven't done before in your calculator. So you want to look for the button that looks like this. Okay? And you want to plug in the cube root of something like that. Get that to work. Like 512, you should get 8 for the cube root. And if you can't find that button, sometimes this might be confusing for you, but sometimes it's x to the power of 1 over y. And if that's the only button you have, you don't have the cube root button, you have to use this one, and you have to put 3 in for y. So you'd go like maybe 3, and then the x to the 1 over y button, and then 512, or something like that. I'm not really sure. If you can't do it, talk to me on Tuesday, or talk to Mrs. Armitage on Tuesday, rather, and she'll show you how to do it on your calculator. Okay, so problems you're going to see on Tuesday be stuff like, given the area, can you find the perimeter of a shape? I think you should be able to do this already on your own. We did this in grade 9. So go ahead, pause the video, and in 3 seconds, I'll show you what the answer is for the perimeter of this square. Go ahead. Okay, well, hopefully you stopped the video and actually figured it out, or you did it in your head, whatever. And yeah, we take the square root of the area. That gives you the side length of a square with that area. And so the side length is 9, because the square root of 81 is 9. Okay, and the perimeter is just the distance around the object. Okay, so 9 plus 9 plus 9 plus 9 plus 9 plus 9. No, just kidding, just 4 of them. So 4 times 9, 36, you're done. Okay. Let's look at a different problem involving the cube root and see if you can solve that one. Check this example out. Okay, so this example here, I'm giving you the volume of a cube and ask you to find the surface area. That's not South Africa, SA, it's surface area, okay? So go ahead and stop the video, and in 3 or 4 seconds, I'm going to show you the answer for the surface area of this cube. Okay, so there you go. And you'll notice that 64, you know it's a perfect square, 8 times 8, but here we have to take the cube root, not the square root. Okay, and we find the surface area. Notice the units are in centimeters squared, not centimeters cubed, not centimeters. Okay, so we're going to look at something else on the next video here called factor trees. You've seen them before, and hopefully you'll enjoy it as much as the first time you saw it. Here we go.